Could I have a mover for that, please?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lindsay, seconded by Councillor Willis. Are there any changes, Madam Clerk?
No, there are not.
Okay. Can I have a show of hands for confirmation of the agenda, please? That is confirmed. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Are there any interest to declare? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to number 4, adoption of the minutes of the meeting of February 3rd, 2025. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing and hearing none, could I have a mover and a seconder, please?
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Willis, seconded by Mayor Hedegaard. All in favor? Carried. The public meeting, we will start with 5.1. D10-005-2024, 1829 County Road 5, consent farm surplus. I would welcome any staff. Is there any information to share?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I will be giving a brief introduction on the proposed consent application. Before I move into that, I just want to draw the attention of the committee that staff is recommending approval of the consent application with removal of condition number 7 from the recommendation section. The condition number 7 pertains to abandoning the well on the retained parcel. But lately, staff were informed by the applicant that the well on the retained parcel is intended to be used for continued agricultural purposes that is existing on the retained land. So that being said, and moving into the quick description of the consent application, as stated, the purpose of this report is to recommend approval of consent to sever a surplus farm dwelling lot resulting from a farm consolidation. The proposed severance results from a farm consolidation with the retained parcel continuing to be actively farmed. The subject property is being acquired by an operational farming business holding a valid farm business registration number from the Ontario Federation of Agriculture. The proposed severed parcel will accommodate the existing surplus residents, while the retained parcel will be consolidated with other parcels owned by the farming business, enabling ongoing agricultural operations on the retained lands. The severed lot is limited to the minimum size necessary to accommodate the existing residents and private services. And the retained parcel will be rezoned to prohibit future residential development as a condition over the consent, ensuring long-term agricultural use in alignment with both provincial and township policies. The staff has done a thorough review of the application with applicable planning legislation and are of the opinion that the application is in compliance with the provincial policy statement, both the county and township official plan, and the township zoning bylaw. Therefore, staff is recommending approval, again with removal of condition number 7 from the recommendation section.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have a question for staff just for clarification or questions in general? Mr. Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to commend staff for, again, a very comprehensive report, and also for the proponent for providing the information that they did. Again, a very comprehensive package containing all the necessary information. The only question, if I have a question, I just want to ensure that staff and the proponent are comfortable with the size of the lot, in a sense that it is 0.5 hectares in size. Normally, the ones I've seen over the past are usually a little bit larger, 0.8 hectares, in order to allow for additional space for such things as replacement of septic tanks and tile beds. I'm just wondering if staff and the applicant are content with the 0.5 hectare size. That's my first question. And my second question, I think I saw it in the diagram. There was sort of a loop driveway, and the drawing indicated that it's going to be closed off because it transversed into the retained parcel of land. So there will be just only one entrance into this property now. I just want staff to confirm that. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, in regards to the area of the Sherwood parcel, the current zoning provisions for the prime agricultural zone permits minimum area of the lot to 0.5 hectare. And I think as per the application sketch, the frontage is close to 69 meters. This has been initially proposed by the applicant from the very start. And because it aligns with the zoning provisions as per the prime agricultural zone, staff saw no issue in processing that. In regards to the question pertaining to the entrance, there are two entrances, and the way the severance is proposed, one entrance would be assigned exclusively for the Sherwood lot, and the second entrance would be modified to or would act as an existing entrance to the retained parcel. This is County Road 5, which is also known as Palace Road, and the application has been circulated to the county, and county is comfortable with this approach.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Willis, did you have a question?
I did, to Mr. Soni through the chair. I believe that you said that the retained parcel, how would that be zoned?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the retained parcel will have a special policy or special zone, exception zoning for prime agricultural zone, like PA-XX. As a part of the rezoning, the first thing is to prohibit any further residential dwellings. The reason being, this is a prime agricultural land, and provincial policy statement and both county and county and township official plan only permits consent if the retained parcel is rezoned to prohibit further residential uses. Yeah.
Thank you.
No further questions, I see. Is the applicant present, and do they wish to, or their representative wish to address the committee?
Through you, Mr. Chair, Jason sends the planning consultant on file, might be in the panelist, but he informed me that only if there are questions addressed to the consultant, he would involve. If there are no questions specifically for the consultant, I think we can proceed further.
Okay, just to confirm, no one has any further questions then to the consultant? Okay, Madam Clerk, is there anyone in the virtual audience that might wish to speak to this?
For you, Mr. Chair, there are no one in the virtual audience.
Okay, so we have a recommendation on the table here, and just to review, we will be removing recommendation 7 of that. Do we have a mover?
So
Councillor Willis, seconded by Mr. Lindsay.
Yep.
Madam Clerk, do I have to read out the whole thing, or can I just adjust it as the recommendations as outlined in the report? Can I do that?
Yes, so the application would be approved subject to conditions 1 through 6.
Okay. So we have a mover and a seconder. Is there any further comments? All in favor? That motion is carried. Item 5.2, D13-001-2025, 124 Sherwood Avenue, a minor variance. And staff, if you wish, please.
Hello. So through the chair, the proposed application for 124 Sherwood proposes to reduce the interior side yard setbacks from 1.8 meter to 1.2 meter for construction of an attached garage with a story above for additional residential space. Staff are recommending approval for the application as it meets four tests of minor variance. First, the general intent and purpose of the official plan is met, as the proposed addition to the existing single detached dwelling is in keeping with the low density residential designation. Second, the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw is met, as sufficient land will be maintained to access the rear yard and there will not be massing or privacy concerns. Third, the proposed variance is considered to be a suitable development for the land, as the requested setback reduction will provide sufficient separation from the neighboring property, ensuring minimal impact on adjacent areas. Fourth, the variance can be considered minor, as the proposed setback reduction will not cause any adverse impact on the property or neighborhood. Therefore, staff are recommending the approval for minor variance. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for staff to provide clarification? Councillor Willis.
Thank you through the chair. It sounds like what's planned here is a two-story garage and the house is a bungalow. Have we seen an elevation on what this is going to look like?
The elevation will be meeting the zoning bylaw requirement, and it will not exceed the minimum requirement for R1 residential.
And do we know, would there be a requirement that there's washroom facilities in this additional story, or is it expected that the main house is where all of the services would be for this additional area?
So it will be above the main residential residential dwelling, and we don't have the floor plan of of the house which they are gonna build above the residential zone. If I am wrong, James can answer this.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair. No, Hardy explained it well. It's my understanding that I believe the question would be, is there going to be a second dwelling unit? The applicant has noted that is purely just for an extension of the existing house. So it will be living space. At this point, we don't have a floor plan saying what would be there. However, that would be beyond the request of the application. So right now, all we're looking at is the setback from 1.2 meters to 1.8 meters. However, we can't confirm it will not be a second unit at this time.
Councillor, continue.
Just a question. Have we heard from any neighbors, any concerns about this application?
No, as of now, we have not heard any concerns, but though we have confirmation from the neighboring property 120 Sherwood that they don't have any other concerns regarding that and they are okay with this deduction.
Thank you.
Mr. Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This question's to staff and points of clarification in the report. I noted that the report states that the additional story for residential space is not proposed to be used as a secondary unit, and I think we heard from James to that effect. However, when I look at the zoning provision under yards minimum, it goes on to say that where a garage or carport is attached or is within the main building or lot is a corner lot, the minimum width of the interior side yard shall be 1.2 meters plus 0.6 meters for each additional or partial story above the first. Hence the request for the variance. But it goes on to say the increased side yard requirement does not apply to an attic or loft. Now, I know this may be splitting hairs here, but if the proponent labeled this space as a loft, would they be subject to this variance request?
Thank you.
So,
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Hardy.
go ahead. No problem. Go ahead.
No, so through the chair, if it was a loft, then it would not be. However, at time of building permit, if our building staff went out there and found that it was not actually being used as an attic or a loft, then it wouldn't be in compliance with the zoning and they'd be required to have a minor variance. We do know that they are using it for extra living space, so it's not just beyond an attic. It could be used for a bedroom, living room, that kind of thing. It's just not being a separate dwelling unit itself. It's going to be incorporated within the entire existing single attached dwelling unit.
So there's no kitchen in this portion then?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I'm just wondering again, if staff can confirm on the sketch that I received where it showed the minimum side yard request. I think I read 1 meter on the drawing, not 1.2 meters. I'm just wondering if this can be clarified.
Through the chair to you, it is 1.2 meters, and we have confirmed and we have draft drawing from the applicant, so it says 1.2 meters.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Those are my questions.
Okay. Is the applicant in attendance and wish to speak to the item?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the applicant is not in the meeting room right now.
Okay. Is there anyone in the virtual audience that wish to ask a question?
There are no members of the public either.
Okay. So we have a recommendation on, could somebody move it, please?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mayor Hedegorn, seconded by Mr. Lindsay. Is there any further discussion? Okay, so could we, the recommendation, and again, it's SR 2872, and the recommendations, the two recommendations within. Is there anyone, I guess we're all in favor? And that is carried. What else we got here? We have no decisions. We have no other business. Our next committee meeting will be April 7th, 2025. I guess I need one more motion to adjourn. Councillor Willis, Mr. Lindsay, all in favor?